Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to my basement gym yet again for another yoga class. Feel free to have your blocks and your straps handy. And I always have two mats because I have a hard floor. If you don't have two mats, you can always lay down a towel and then put your mat on top of that, or relocate to someplace where there's some soft carpet. I have some soft music playing, but feel free to have your own and just have my voice there to help guide you. I try to have mine soft enough for background, but nothing that would be too intrusive. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Let's find ourselves standing on our mats, discovering our mountain pose, and just trying to quiet the brain, push out all those external thoughts, whether this was a morning class you're joining us or whether it's an evening class. Let's try to put all those to-do lists, those stressors, physically, just visually pick them up, put them aside. Allow your face to smile. It's kind of amazing how much a smile can change your attitude, even if there's nothing to smile about. So let your face smile. Let's find our mountain pose. Feet may be underneath our hips, or if you like, a more traditional big toes touching, edges of the feet parallel to one another with some separation between the heel. Or, again, like I always say, there's no right, no wrong, just different, okay? So let's find our mountain pose, allowing our body weight to settle a little bit more in our heels and into the balls of the feet. Let's lift those arches up from the floor, taking those shin bones and lifting our kneecaps up and rotating our thigh bones open, bringing the inside seam of our shorts or our leggings forward. That draws our tailbone under. That also draws tension within our abdominals. Keeping our ribs stitched to our hip, we're going to lift the sternum, stretch out that spine, lengthen the spine, broadening through our collarbones, and allowing our shoulders to roll back and settle down. Just by broadening those collarbones, gently hugging that kindergarten pencil between our shoulder blade and stacking our ribs, the bends of our elbows will naturally face forward. When our shoulders are tight and tense, the bends of our elbows face in. And this is all without rotating within my forearms. This is just broadening those collarbones. Shoulders roll back and down. Hugging that kindergarten pencil gently between our shoulder blades. Now do this for me. Press the chin forward. Now pull the chin really back. 2 more times. Press forward and pull back. 1 more time. Press forward and pull back. Now let the chin creep forward just a little bit, letting the back of our neck lengthen. Imagine we're balancing a tray of drinks on our head. We don't want to tip it over, letting it fall forward. Good. Let's focus on our breathing as we inhale fully through our nose and exhale fully through our nose. Feeling the belly expand as we inhale and feeling our belly fall as we exhale. Imagine we have a loose belt just sitting around our waist about belly button height. And as we inhale, we can expand our breath to touch and fill that space within the belt. And as we exhale, our body falls away from that belt. Directing our breath down deep and not letting it be super high. This helps with relaxation, focus, and an aid in letting go of stress. Let's pour water out of our right ear and pouring water out of our left ear. And 2 more times each side. Nice and gentle. Don't worry about how far you can tip. Stop the tip when you feel that resistance. Now looking over our right shoulder and over our left. 2 more times. Remembering that our sternum is lifted. We're holding that big fat kindergarten pencil between the shoulder blades. And now using our ears as our pivot point, let's just drop our chin down and lift the chin up. As we lift the chin up, let the tension relax the mouth open. We're going to do a stretch here soon, where I'm going to ask you to close. Good. And now lifting our chin, keep the chin lift. And now bring your teeth gently together, feeling a stretch right down the front of the neck. We don't need to mash our teeth together, just bring the teeth till they touch each other. And lowering down. Good, let's pour water out of our right ear, bringing our left hand up and over our right hand. Let the weight of the hand draw the head over, creating that tension as we reach outward to where the wall and the floor would meet. Breathing through the tension, sternum still lifted, still gently holding that kindergarten pencil. And lift and changing sides. Pouring water out of our left ear, finding where we get that tension. Then bringing the left hand up and over, wrapping it around towards the ear. And just allow the weight of that arm to gently pull the head into a stretch, reaching our right hand out to where the wall and floor would meet. Inhale and exhale, releasing the hand, slowly raising the head. Now let's lace our fingers together, placing them behind our head, letting the weight of our hands drop our chin to our chest, and now resist, pushing the back of the head gently into the hands. Inhale and exhale, releasing our hands, and then we raise our head, lacing our fingertips behind us. Let's open up through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together, but don't lift the ribs. Stitch the ribs down towards the hips, keeping that stretch up here. Good. Let's release. And feel free to stagger your feet as we raise up onto the ball of each foot and lower down. Raise and lower. 2 more times. Lift and lift. As we change sides, just waking up the calves, waking up the feet. 2 more. Last one. Good. Let's pull all the toes up and push the big toes down. And let's flip it around. Push all the other toes down and pull the big toes up. And flip it around one more time. Big toes down, the rest of our toes up. And now all the other toes down and the big toes come up. Good. Let's step our feet generously apart, preparing for sunflower squats. So we inhale, sweep, scoop up, and then hinging at our hips, pressing the hips back as we sit back. Our knees go out in the same direction as our toes are pointing. Try not to let the knees cave in. We should always be able to see our big toe as we lower down into our sunflower squat. The weight is back in our heels, so we don't lead this with the knees. We lead it with our tuchus, pressing the tuchus back and lift. Let's do 4 more before we go into moonflower. 2 more. And now arms big like a starfish as we pull the elbows down towards our knees. Squeezing our shoulder blades together. Gazing down, you can still see our big toes inside of our knees. If we are not, make this a little shorter and concentrate more on opening up through the hips. Okay? Let's do 3 more. There's 2. And 1. One of each now. Sunflower and moon. Sunflower and moon. 2 more cycles. Last one. And 5-pointed star. Good. Shoulders down. We're not reaching out like this. Pull those shoulder blades down into their back pockets. Let's bring our arms to goalpost. We're just going to rotate them forward and open. Just a little shoulder mobility, helping with our shoulder health. Only 2 more times. 2 and 1. Good. Toe heel in till we feel comfortable. Let's grab our blocks. Let's put them at the ends of our mat. Doesn't matter what end you face. I'm going to be here at my candle end, and the block can be any height. We're going to just start off with a little forward fold with some rotation. So inhaling, exhale, hinging at our hip joint, coming down to our blocks. Good. Exhale, halfway up, and fold. Inhale, forward fold. And exhale, let's reverse. And bring my hands to heart center. Let's do that again. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhaling as we fold. Inhale, reversing that fold. And this time, bring the hands behind. Open up through the chest. And coming into a forward fold one more time. Keeping our chest lifted, not rounding over. Keeping that chest lifted. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, release. Scooping the arms up. And draw to heart center. Let's do that one more time. Lacing our hands behind our back. Inhaling. And exhale, forward fold. Don't round the spine and bring the shoulders forward. Keep the sternum lifted. Breathe. The gaze is forward to the floor. Try not to be at the knees. That will tend to make you round through the back and round the shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, press through the floor to lift. Scoop up and draw through the middle. Good. Inhale, lift into a forward fold. Let's keep our forward fold and feel free to adjust the block to a good height for you as we come into a rotation. Let's start with the hand furthest from each other. Let the knee furthest from each other bend generously. And we're going to point to each other. And as we press through the block, you rotate and open our chest towards each other. Don't worry about how far this arm goes. It's not how far, so please don't lead and pull back with your arm. Your arm is a straight extension from your shoulder, so don't do this. It's all about spinal mobility, thoracic mobility. Good. Let's return to the block. We're going to do the same side again, okay? Let's bend the leg furthest from each other. Inhale, pointing towards each other. And as we exhale, pressing through the block, open up the chest towards each other. Breathe. Shoulders out of the ear. Good. Inhaling and exhaling as we return to the block. Inhale, reversing that fold. And countering that forward fold with a little chest expansion as we lace our fingers together and open up the chest towards the ceiling. Try not to make this about the low back where you're doing this. Try to make it from the rib cage up. Keeping our low back long by tucking our tailbone under. Breathe. Good. Inhale and exhale, release. So we come to forward fold with rotation again. Inhaling and exhaling to our blocks. Now this time, it's the hand closest to each other that we keep on the block. The closest knee bends. And now inhale, pointing away from the TV, away from your monitor. And exhale, press through and rotating away. Again, shoulders are out of the ears. We're not leading this rotation with the arm. And it's all about our torso. Inhale and exhale, releasing to our block once more. As we return to the same twist. So, hands closest to each other, stay on the block. The closest knee bends generously. Inhale, pointing towards the wall behind us. And exhale, rotate. Breathe. Wring out your spine like you're wringing out a towel. Inhale. And exhale as we release. Inhale, reversing that fold. And let's bring the fingers behind us for chest expansion, back extension. Again, don't make it about the low back, make it from the rib cage up, like you're hanging from the ceiling by a string on your sternum. Inhale and exhale, releasing. Forward fold to the floor. Inhale and exhaling. Feel free to step a leg back and lower a knee down. Coming into quadruped. Good. Let's just do some shortening of the rib to the hip. Like a kneeling half moon. Oh, wag the dog without the leg. Remember, we want to lift the belly muscles. Don't let the low back sag. Keep the low back supported. As we do our side-to-side flexion of our spine. One more time each side. Good. Now I just want us to think about sinking our shoulders or sinking our chest through our shoulders without bending the elbows. And now pushing the floor away, we round through our upper back, dropping our chin. And now keeping the elbows straight, sinking our chest through our shoulders. And now pressing the mat away. And then rounding the upper portion of our spine. One more time. Sinking the chest through the shoulders, keeping the elbows straight. And then pressing away, and then rounding the upper back. Good. Leveling out our spine as we just do some pelvic tilts as we tuck the tailbone under. And now scoop the tailbone up towards the ceiling. And again, Tailbone tucks under. Pull the belly muscles in. And turn the tailbone up. One more time. Tuck. And lower. Let's press back into extended child pose. Feel free to try to have the knees together, creating a bit more of an arc for the spine to round over. If that is too much for you, if you're a little bit more blessed or you need a little bit more for your belly, feel free to spread the legs so that way you have room to breathe. No right, no wrong, just different. If your heels don't want to touch, I would love to suggest at this time putting the block underneath your forehead, not by the heels, but I want to change how we stretch things, and I want to get into our lower back so we can use the block so that way our heels can come back to touch our hips. Let the hands be generously apart and placing the right hand on top of our left and sitting out on our right hip. Good. And coming back, separating the hands as now we take the left hand on top of our right and sitting out on our left hip. And back to separated as we draw our chest forward, coming into a low plank. Feel free to adjust for room and space on the mat. As we bring ourselves into our low plank, hands are underneath our shoulders. Our shoulder blades are rolled back and pulled down, not hunched up by our ears. Our belly's lifted. Our thigh muscles are hugging the bone. Let's tuck our toes under, pressing up into downward facing dog. Pressing the mat away, letting the chest sink through the shoulders. Breathe. Let's raise up onto the ball of each foot and lowering down. 2 more times. Lifting and lower. 1 more. Lifting and lower. Drawing forward into a low plank. Toes or knees, your choice. Let's lower down as we prepare for locust. Let's bring our head down to the mat. Our palms are facing upward. Inhaling as we prepare by pulling the belly button away from the mat. As we exhale, allow the feet to raise and then allow the hands to reach towards our heels. The belly muscles are lifted away from the floor, squeezing between our shoulders and squeezing our gluteals. Our low back feels long. Inhale, locust. And exhale, lowering. Hands come underneath the shoulders for support as we press back into extended child pose. Allow the chest to sink through the shoulders, pushing the mat away. Inhale and exhaling as we cat curl up to low plank and come back into downward facing dog. Inhaling and exhale, pressing back, pushing the mat away. Now if your downward facing dog is a little bit more forward, loaded in the shoulders, feel free to bend the knees, allowing your chest to sink through your shoulders. Let's raise up onto the toes and lower. 2 more times. Inhale, lift, and exhaling as we lower. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Let's draw forward, toes or knees as we lower down, coming into locust once more. Inhaling as we prepare, belly button lifts, and exhale, feet raise, and the hands reach for the feet. Again, the strength of our locust comes between our shoulder blades and our gluteals. We don't want to arc into the low back, so don't relax the belly muscles. Pull that belly button away from the floor. Breathe. Inhaling and exhale. Hands come underneath the shoulders, pressing ourselves back into extended child pose. Exhale, extended child pose. Inhale, prepare to cat curl up to hands and knees. And exhale, curl on up, coming into low plank. Good. Let's walk the knees in till we're back into a quadruped as we work on a little tabletop plank, helping to build a little bit into our core strength. So the goal of tabletop is we dig our toes in and we pretend like someone just took a belt, wrapped it right around our hips right here, and that's lifting us up. So we're not loading into our shoulders. It's all about bracing into our belly and pulling the knees towards our elbows as well as pulling our elbows towards our knee, creating that lovely tension right in our midsection. So coming into tabletop, inhale as we prepare. As we exhale, reach the heels back. Let the knees float just an inch or two off the floor. Bracing within the belly, try not to load or lean forward. Breathe. Building tension by pushing the hands through the floor, and we want to pull the elbows towards our knees and our knees towards our elbows. Good. Let's lower down, bringing ourselves into diamond, just for a brief moment, as we lace our fingertips behind our backs and open the chest. If this causes any undue tension to the knees, feel free to come up onto your knees. Just a nice counter pose from our tabletop plank. Let's repeat our tabletop plank. Inhaling and exhale, reaching our heels back, pulling up from our hips and our belly, making a flat table of our spine, not loading forward into the hands. Yes, the hands are anchored, but it's not like everything's in here. So put the weight back into the hips. Breathe. Let's lower our knees down. And one more time into diamond. Or if it feels better to be on your knees briefly. Again, fingertips lacing behind, opening up through the chest. Let's have a seat up on our sit-upon, grabbing our straps. Letting the backs of our legs be active into the floor. And we'll place the strap across the ball of the feet. Sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling as we prepare for hip hinge. And as we exhale, hinging at our hip joint, not rounding at our waist. Let's keep the chest nice and tall. Breathe. Stopping when we feel that tension where we want to fold. We can feel the activeness in the back of our legs, the tension. Feel free to walk your hands down the strap so that way it is a passive motion or passive grip with your arms instead of back here and you're pulling. This makes it a little bit nicer. Breathe. Can we press our legs a little firmer into the ground? Good. Inhale. Now, as we exhale, let's drape ourselves over our leg. Again, can we press a little firmer into the ground? Inhale and exhale as we lift. We'll lay our straps here so we don't go into a full upward plank. More of a chest expansion. The hands are underneath the shoulders, fingertips pointing towards our gluteus. Let's press the arms straight. Squeezing the shoulder blades together and opening up through the chest. Hollow out through the belly. Don't let the ribs flare. Hold the ribs in. Keep it from our sternum up towards our chin. Breathe. So everything from where our heart rate monitor strap would be, that's what we want to flip up and open towards our chin. Everything else, pull inward. Good. Inhale and exhale, releasing. Let's come back to our straps. Inhaling as we prepare for our forward fold. The backs of our legs are active in the mat. And exhaling as we hinge at our hip joint. Again, feel free to walk your hands down the strap. We're passive here. We're not pulling, it's just we're gripping in that magic spot where we can feel that tension. Can we push our legs a little firmer into the ground? Good. Inhaling. And now as we exhale, let's drape ourselves over our thighs. Can we press our legs a little firmer into the ground? Inhaling. Exhale to lift. And coming into our chest expansion. Hollow out through the belly, sink that belly. But press the chest open. Breathe. Allowing the head to relax back. Good. Let's lift up. Let's grab our blocks and have a seat. We'll work on some spinal rotation before we get into our hips today. Having a seat on the front edge of our block. Your flexibility may be enough that you don't need the block, but me, if I did not have my block, there's where my knees would be. And that knee gets kind of achy. My block allows me to rotate my hips forward and allow my knees to gently fall below the height of my hips. This is something that we all can work for as far as finding a good stretch and building upon it. And eventually maybe those knees can touch the floor without the aid of a block. Coming to easy seated to our right. Our right hand is on the floor, the elbows next to our rib. Left hand on the outside of the right knee. Inhaling. And as we exhale, start at the base of our spine and just rotate till we cannot rotate the base of our spine anymore. Then make it about the thoracic spine. That's the shoulder area. As our shoulders rotate just a little bit more. And now finally, our gaze. As our cervical spine helps finish our rotation. Keeping our spine lifted, our sit bones are level on the block. We're not leaning over, we're not leaning back. Thinking of our spine like a spiral staircase, lifting and stacking the vertebrae. Inhaling, and as we exhale, we'll slowly unrotate and do the same thing for the other side. Let's break this one down. Inhale and exhale. Everything rotates in the lower back, stopping when we feel that stick point And then make it about the shoulders as the shoulders rotate a little bit more. And then finally our gaze as our cervical spine finishes the rotation. Shoulders are out of our ears, our sit bones are level. We're not leaning over or back. You may find one side's a little easier than the other. That's pretty common. I have that as well. That just means we need to give that side a little bit more love. Inhaling and exhaling as we undo that rotation and changing what foot is in front. Easy seated twist. Inhale and exhale. Our lower back rotates, the shoulders, and then the head. Taking note of what rotates a little bit easier compared to the other. Let the breath go to the tension within the middle of our back. It tends to be where we hold all of our tension. Inhale and exhaling as we release and changing sides. Inhale, seated twist. And exhale, low back and shoulders. And finally the head. Breathe. Inhale and exhaling as we undo our rotation. Good. Let's take our blocks. We're going to slide our feet out and make a bigger diamond with the soles of our feet together. So we're not pulling in tight, we're enlarging that diamond. So we take our block right by our heels, and if we need to, stacking fists, what I'd like for us to do is very passively, just allowing ourselves to drape over the opening, allowing the forehead to rest on the block, and breathing through the tension and release within our low back. So we'll take a few breaths, so embrace this, have patience. Just notice the small changes as we go along. Feeling ourselves sinking a little bit deeper, maybe taking away a fist or maybe fully resting on the block. Slowly support ourselves to come out of our passive forward fold. Let's take the feet out comfortable distance. As we do move into some hip work, what we're going to do is just rotate the knees to the side. One hand in the middle, other hand on the side to help. Our knees come to a 90-degree bend, hips and knees 90-degree bend. And if you have that stretchiness within your hips, you may be able to pick up your hands without falling over. Me, this side, I'm more tight because this knee wants to push in and push me over. So I need to have that support. Flipping to the other side, we're going to do the same thing. Knees drop over. You might notice it's a little bit different. For me, it surely is. I can pick up my hands because my hip mobility on this side is a little bit nicer. So this knee is not tight and pushing into the ground, making me fall backwards. Let's flip this around again. This is a great hip mobility drill, especially great one to use to help keep those hips healthy. It's a great one I like to use before lifting and even after lifting. Good. If we can sit up nice and tall and we don't touch the floor, we can add a sensation to this by lifting this heel off the floor. This knee is down. Just rotate using my gluteals to draw the heel up off the floor. Let's switch sides one more time. Feel free to try it. If you can, keep your hand up. Go ahead and give that a try. If you can't, it's enough just to get the stretch right now. Then working on lifting that heel. First things first. And one more time, other side. And again, if you can lift, then you are ready to lift that heel. Good. Coming out. Let's swing ourselves around so we're on the mat. Now let's uncurl our spine down to the mat slowly, one vertebrae at a time. We draw the knees in. Feel free to grab over the knees, or if it feels better, go under, especially if you have knee issues or have had knee replacement. You don't want to pull those knees into extreme bends. Let's lay the feet back on the ground as we come to figure four. It don't matter which foot you do first. I'm going to take my right foot though and place my right foot on top of my left knee. You can reach through and grab that knee or gentle support. I have to do the support because I'm super tight right now. And if I did this, you could see I'm like a turtle on my backside. Nothing's kind of flat. My head isn't down. My shoulders are hunched up and rounded. This is a lot more stable, safe position. I'm not straining and rounding. I want to feel that wonderful stretch within my hip. Eventually, I'd love to have this foot a little closer up to our shoulder as this knee falls away. Let's rock side to side. Help easing that tension within our hips. It's a little distractor tool. Breathe. Good. Keeping the knee right here, let's slide the leg down and allowing our knee to open, allowing gravity to draw it down, opening up through our hips. With our arms, make sure our block and strap are not in the way, like a snow angel, like the back of our arms. We touch the floor as we sweep up and then down. One more time. Try to broaden the shoulders. Let the backs of our arms touch the floor as much as possible. And sliding back down. Good. Let's slide in our foot, and one more time, grabbing from behind the leg or support. Just seeing if changing up that stretch, we get a little bit more of a stretch within our hip. And do the same thing, other side. Left ankle on the right knee. And drawing in, feel free to grab behind the knee or support in a cradle position. Let's breathe, rocking our hips side to side. Let's allow our foot to come down, keeping the ankle and the knee. Again, we'll slide it out and allowing that knee to fall open. Feeling a wonderful stretch through our hips. And this time, let's bring our arms up to goalposts. So from goalposts, we're going to slide up and draw down. Trying to keep the elbow as well as the wrist and the hand in contact with the floor. Me, I have a tough time with this arm. My elbow does not want to touch. That just means I'm a little bit more tight. One more time. Good. And then again, let's slide in our foot. And one more time into our figure four. Feel free to support to the cradle or hold behind the knee, whatever feels more comfortable for you. And let's release our knees to the floor. The feet as wide as our mats as we windshield wiper those knees side to side. Pausing with our knees facing away from each other. Allow gravity this time just to pull the hip in. Wonderful stretch for our hips. Pulling our ribs down towards the mat, not letting our ribs arc away. And then slowly back to center and changing sides. Allowing gravity to pull our knees down, but don't let it arc our ribs. Let's pull the ribs down. That's okay if that brings our knees up a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, drawing center. As we come to final relaxation, feel free to have the legs still bent, turning the toes inward so that the knees drift towards each other. Hands may be by our sides, palms facing upward. This is a wonderful finish if you have any low back tension. If you would prefer, you may extend your legs out, allowing the hips to relax, shoulders relax. Feel free to pick them up and resettle them down in a comfortable final relaxation. As we focus on our breathing, inhaling fully through our nose and exhaling fully through our nose. Let each exhalation become a little longer than our inhalation. Let each breath help soften those muscles in our face, our chest. Let each exhalation relax us, letting that softness radiate out through the arms and legs, our fingertips and our toes. Just take a moment to unwind a little more, allowing ourselves to melt into our mats. Let's slowly wiggle our fingertips and our toes, making that movement a little bigger. As we bring our hands up to shield our eyes, our feet in. Let's open those eyes and draw the knees in. And if you'd like, rocking and rolling to seated, using our core to brace ourselves at the top of our rock. Namaste. I hope this was a great way to start your day with a little stretch, a little positive energy, or maybe it was a nice way to finish it off. Either way, look forward to having another class with you again. Have a great one, and we'll see you soon.